This is my presentation on the flipped classroom method. What is it? Why was it created? What are the benefits? And what are the concerns? So what is a flipped classroom? A flipped classroom is an educational technique that consists of two parts: interactive student learning activities inside the classroom and direct computer-based individual instruction outside of the classroom. This quote was from one of our assigned readings called The Flipped Classroom, a Survey of the Research. On the left is a picture of a traditional classroom versus a flipped classroom model. The theoretical framework for the flipped classroom. So one of the theories that the flipped classroom was based off of was by Vygotsky, which shows the importance of cooperative learning from the zone of proximal development. Another one was developed from Topping and Ailey, which shows the importance of peer-assisted learning and having the opportunity to collaborate with other students to complete coursework. And the last one was by Smith and McGregor, which is that the social independence theory shows that the way students interact with each other depends on their goals and interests. The development of the theoretical framework helps to clarify your implicit theory in a manner that is more clearly defined. It helps you to consider other possible frameworks and to reduce biases that may sway your interpretation. One of the statistics from our assigned readings is that 64% of the students in a flipped classroom tend to surpass the average scores in a traditional classroom. I have to mention that this statistic does not apply to all flipped classroom situations, and that student success in a flipped classroom depends on many factors. Some of the benefits of the flipped classroom are as follows. Online learning has become very important after the pandemic, and the flipped classroom method gives students the tools and practice they need to be involved in remote learning effectively. Students can learn at their own pace with being able to pause and rewind lecture videos. Students are able to take their education into their own hands. Their understanding of each topic is determined by how intentional they are with their time learning outside the classroom as well as during practice in the classroom. Students can receive immediate help and feedback in the classroom since their teacher is right there to answer questions. There is little to no stress if a student misses a class because all the resources they need to complete their work is online, and if they're missing a class, all they're missing is time for questions and practice. And this method helps to provide more opportunities for student collaboration, which, according to the theoretical perspectives from the last slide, is very important for student development. Some concerns and downfalls of a flipped classroom are that it is a concern that parent-driven students would still struggle to complete assignments. Changing a classroom learning environment does not necessarily change a child's motivation. If they aren't motivated to learn in the classroom, they're not going to be motivated on their own to learn outside of the classroom. Many students have limited access to technology, so having to complete online notes from home with no internet access would be very difficult. Many students prefer enrolling in and paying for in-person classes because they can't self-regulate from home. So having to complete lecture notes at home would be very hard for a student who already struggles to do their work. And the flipped classroom is only as successful as the teacher makes it. A main concern is quality of content. So when teachers and professors use content from others instead of making their own, students may feel confused by the different teaching styles, and the quality of these videos may not be as great. So my experience and my thoughts on the flipped classroom model are that I was involved in a flipped classroom in my Algebra 1 class in 7th grade, and I personally really benefited from this model because I struggled with math, so being able to have that guided practice in class and be able to ask questions and do my own practice problems and make mistakes was really beneficial. And my teacher also made her own lecture videos and gave us printed notes to fill in, which I believe helped lessen our workload as well as keeping us on track. And my thoughts are that I think the flipped classroom model can be very beneficial for students if it's done correctly, but I also think that it can be a very bad model if it is done poorly. I think that it depends on the efforts of the students and the teachers to make it work. I do think technology needs to be provided because students who don't have access to devices or technology will not be able to complete online lecture notes. I also think teachers need to make their own videos and lecture notes so that they can control the quality. Notes should be guided since students fill them out on their own at home so that they know what they should be focusing on. And I think that post-lecture quizzes should be encouraged to ensure understanding and so that the teachers can make sure to go over a topic that most students were not able to complete in class. And then these are my resources that I used from our assigned readings. Thank you.